Welcome to the Amazing Truth Podcast, a podcast where we focus on real issues and have real talk, and as always, provide a biblical perspective. We hope that you will be blessed as you listen.
Hi, welcome to another episode of the Amazing Truth Podcast. And today we're sitting here with somber attitudes and heavy hearts. Actually, we just want to reflect on some of the recent events that have happened, especially this week. At the time of this recording, yesterday there was a mass shooting in Olvad, Texas, and an 18-year-old man killed 22 kids and 19 kids and two teachers.
Yeah, 19 kids and 2 adults. There were 2 adults and then...
Right.
Yeah.
So we just wanted to come back and just reflect and just put our thoughts, this is a safe space. We wanted to just open our hearts to each other and just to kind of process this together with you as well. So Ezra, I'll start with some statistics. The FBI did a survey or a research. Just in 2021, we've had 61 incidents of active shooters. They did an active shooter report, and they found 61 incidents in 2021. And this is up 53% from 2020 and up 97% from 2017. And just in 2021, there have been 103 victims of active shooters. Just numbers that are staggering, numbers that are really astonishing. And I think the ones that, especially when every victim means something to someone. But when it comes to defenseless children, it hits different. I don't know what you mean. Those are defenseless kids, especially from yesterday. Those are kids who were in school, where their parents sent them to school safe, thinking they would be safe, but then they didn't bring their kids home. So we just wanted to process this together.
Yeah, Kenan, it's first of all, our condolences to the families. I can only imagine what they are going through. And the question that comes to mind is, are we safe? Are we safe? You're a parent.
Mm-hmm.
You every morning wake up,
Right?
prepare your son and daughter, send them to school. What did this send to you? How did you feel when you heard this?
My kids were in school. This was 11 a.m. My kids were in school, and my wife texted me and said, "Oh, I think that something has happened in Texas." And immediately you think of your kids, right? So, and of course, people write and say when they come home, give them an extra hug. And actually, you take that for granted, but those are the times that you need to. So as I was sending them to school, sending my daughter to school today, I told her that, something happened in Texas, and little kids your age, almost your age or somehow, were killed. A bad guy came into the school and killed them, and I told them. So I immediately sent an email to the principal of the school, and asked, in light of these shootings and the tragedies in Texas, what is the school doing? What is in place to protect? And she came back and said, yeah, there's systems, and so I felt safe. So again, when the kids came back from school, give them a hug. So it really hits you different, and it's a valid question. And I would ask you the same. What do you think? Are we safe? Are we safe? I mean, how did you take this?
To be honest with you, I haven't even processed it. I just don't want to even get into it. I don't know if we're becoming numb as a nation or as a people. I don't understand still what's... I get it, the Second Amendment.
Right.
I get it. But, Kenan, really? we're having issues going on right now on abortion rights.
Right.
Then let's protect the kids who are born. Like it's, and I'm not getting into abortion for or against abortion. That's not what I'm talking about. But it bemoans me to hear people talk about you can kill real life,
Right.
and I'm not, and that's true and that's real life. But then we're okay with lives that are currently living.
Yeah. And again, I saw a post today, and someone was arguing. I mean, we're not sitting here pro or against abortion.
We're just reflecting.
We are comparing. I mean, these are two real social issues that
Yes.
people are talking about: guns, gun control, and rights of a lady. And someone said, if you're making it harder for a woman to make a choice with their body, and you're making it easy for an 18-year-old person to go and buy a gun and kill people. So they were arguing. I mean, you're making someone travel state lines, making it harder to wait for 2 days before they can make a choice with their body, but you're making it easier for someone to buy an AR-15 and go and kill kids in school. So these
are social issues that
Right.
that we're not gonna devolve. Let's just come back into these. I'll just reflect on this. The question is, are we safe? Honestly, I don't think that we are safe. You see, I was just looking at the statistics for 2021. It showed that, in 2021, 8 people, including 6 women of Asian descent. Remember that attack that
Right,
happened in
yeah.
a spa in Atlanta?
Yeah.
You go to a spa, you pay, you just want to relax.
Yeah.
Simply because you're Asian. Somebody walks in and so you go to a spa. Are you safe in a spa? A mass shooting in a supermarket that happened in Boulder, March 22 in 2021, in Colorado, that left 10 people dead. Supermarket. How many times do you go to Cab Food? How many times do you go to Walmart? How many times do you go to?
It's normal.
It's normal.
Right.
Like that's part of life.
Yeah.
Mass shooting there. Los Angeles in March 31st, 2021. 4 people, one of them a child, were killed in a shooting of a building in a suburban Los Angeles before being taken to custody. Now that's in a building. You walk randomly in a building. Indianapolis, April 16, 2021. A former FedEx employee who had been
That's work.
and that's work. You wake up every morning. So you wake up to go to work. You might not come back home.
Right.
You say, hey, let me go to the store, get some milk. You might not come back. You say, man, let me treat my wife to go to the spa. She might not come back. You wake up, send your kids to school. They might not come back.
And the movies too. They've had people going to movies.
Going to movies.
Yep.
They don't come back.
Yep.
Churches.
Right.
You go to worship. You go to fellowship. Mosques. Place of religious, gatherings.
And these places, as you ask that question, are we safe? These are places where you consider yourself
Safe space.
safe.
Exactly. Like these are sanctuaries.
Right.
So it just bemoans me. Just thinking about where we are as a society, as a country, as a people.
Yeah. And again, it's different now when you see the victims, right? Say like the last week, the one in, was it in
New York.
Yeah, it was in a church, right?
There was one.
The one in the mall, right?
the mall.
Tops, right?
Yeah.
And then when you bring race into it and say, okay, someone actually, went because they wanted to kill people of a certain
Racially
color,
motivated.
right?
It was a racially motivated incident.
Again, that's another. You're supposed to be safe in your own skin. But really, question is, are we really safe?
It just, and the thing is, right now, Kenan, May 14th. Today is one, May 25th.
25th.
That's 11 days ago.
Right.
A white gunman killed 10 black people inside a supermarket. You tell me.
As if you read the stories of the victims, I mean, someone went to get a birthday cake for their child. Someone stopped from work. An elderly lady stopped on her way home from work to get just something, something trivial, something you take, and then you end.
New York, April 12th. That's a month ago, a month and some change.
Right.
In one of the most violent attacks in the history, New York Transit, you're taking a transit home, just
Right.
getting on the train to go home. 23 people were wounded. So I conclude and say I'm not safe. But the question that then I ask myself is, why are people doing these things?
Yeah.
Like, why would I wake up even if I know legally I can have a gun? Why would I wake up to go kill people?
So Ezra, they like to answer that question, not to even ask a question on top of that question is some of these issues, some of these the reasons that people are giving says the guy was mentally ill, right? What are your thoughts? I mean, just in a preliminary, concept of understanding that, what are your thoughts when it comes to that? I know we talk a lot about mental health in this podcast, right? And we tell people to get help, but then when it comes to mental health, and then where is it a quagmire for you now speaking about mental health, and then someone with how do you relate that?
Let me first of all say this. Me, Ezra, I don't want to hear mental health in these cases.
Okay.
This is me speaking, and I'm speaking raw, and I'm processing this raw. Let me tell you why. If you're going to come out and tell me now that these people have mental health issues, the question is, did you just find out after they shot people? When did you ascertain they had mental health issues? If you did know before, what did you do to help them? If you knew before and you never did anything to help them, then you're part of the journey.
Right.
Your party, you should be blamed. I should be blamed. We should be blamed. Now, of course, again, you do your part and somebody says, people still have a right to say, I don't want to go in. I'm not going to take medication. You people have a right to make those choices, but at least do that. But if you're going to come back and say, just from the way, because some of the preliminary reports I'm hearing, by the way the guy looked, by the way he was
dressed, right?
By the way
he was a loner.
He was a loner.
Yeah.
Are you saying this now, or did you know this before? And when you saw all those as symptoms, what did you do?
And again, are we making excuses?
Are we making excuses?
Right.
Because now we're starting to get to that fine, thin line of saying, making excuses for 22 lives that will never be restored. Now, again, I am not
Right.
going to.
This is just you.
In my mind, I'm just thinking there's possibility of mental health because, again, I don't rationalize how someone will just wake up and just in their normal mind go do such an act. Something is off somewhere. I don't rationalize how you kill your grandma.
I don't see she's I don't know, we can't confirm if she's dead or not, but
Whatever it is, but you
shoot your grandma.
shoot,
Right.
all that stuff.
Right.
Whatever. I don't know. So when I'm looking at all those things, I'm like, okay, I don't know if any normal person will do that.
And again, you look at the stories and news things are coming out. Articles are saying he got the job at Wendy's so he could save money to buy guns, and then he shared his love for guns with his coworkers. Now you
Now let me say the guns. I don't have a gun.
right.
I don't engage with guns. I don't deal with guns. But I can see you having a gun, a love for guns. But I don't see how the love for guns starts killing people.
Right. Yeah, that's a whole
People have love for cars. I'm not going to buy cars to go ram into a mass group of people who are just having a good time. Even if I love cars, then that's something stupid.
But
for me
someone
to
can
do.
argue then if you cannot do that, someone with mental health issues can.
That's now again, we will never answer the issue of mental health. I don't know the specifics, but I don't want what infuriates me is I don't want us to make excuses.
Right. We shouldn't. We should
We
not.
shouldn't make excuses. Because when it hits close to home,
Yeah.
when it's your daughter, when it's your son, when it's your spouse, when it's your wife who you just spoke to on the phone and she says, I'm just stopping by the store, I'll see you shortly. And you hear news and she's gone.
That's
At that point, will you say it's mental health?
And I wouldn't want to hear anybody making excuses. For the
Exactly.
person that had my
Exactly.
right.
So I just think there's no room for excuses. I watched basketball last night and I saw Steve Kerr, the coach for
Right.
Warriors, just going in and honestly, we gotta check our policies and our laws, man.
Ezra, I saw, let me infuriate you more. A leader in the said state, I was on a news conference today and he said it could have been worse. Were it not for the cops that went in and neutralized the attacker. He said it could have been worse. And I'm thinking to myself, what's worse? What is more worse, if that's even an English word, than me losing my child?
All I can say is, Kenan, we as human beings might not have the ability and the power to hold people accountable.
But yeah,
But this life, the influence, the power with God given abilities to save life, if we so choose not to, I don't know if people sleep well at night. I don't know if people sleep well at night. So I'm going to leave it at that and I'm going to come back. Let's come back and say this. Let me ask this question, Kenan.
yeah.
How do we process this? People are infuriated. I've seen something, a message going around, mass shooting comes, we do press conferences, we hold prayers, we send victims flowers,
Right,
we
yeah.
forget.
I saw that
It's
thing,
a
yeah,
cycle.
right.
I've seen that cycle. How do we cope and process with this?
I'll tell you what I do personally, in what I believe in a higher being, so I pray. Okay, and I pray for the families. With my family, we pray. So I do that. That's the first thing I do. We leave it to God. I believe in God, so I leave it to God. So you find your higher being, and pray, but also seek help. Right, seek help. Call any whatever crisis lines, whatever mental health resources available to you. Call. If you can't do that, process it with someone. See, me and you here, sitting here, we're processing this. It's okay to let out your feelings and talk about what really is going in your head. What's going, because you don't want to make another gunman because you have these unsettled issues. So I process it. If I can talk to someone, I can talk to my significant other. I'm talking to you right now. So I'm processing that. We are letting it out. We are all angry. But professionally, there is help. If your kids are going to school, there's school counselors there that they can, process this thing together. So there's help for that. What do you do, Ezra?
Of course, prayer, just like you. I want to say this. Don't underestimate the power of prayer. I do. Personally, I don't watch such news anymore. Because it makes me more angry. It makes me more depressed. It makes me more frustrated. So I just want to get just enough dosage to know what's happening in the world, but I don't want to go into the details. Like, I cannot tell you really the whole story of what happened yesterday. And I've realized that what you feed is what you become. I'm a sum total of what I read, what I see, what I eat, and all that stuff. So if I'm constantly feeding myself that negative energy, that anger, that anger, that pain. So the news for me in times like this, honestly, I haven't watched the news since the elections.
Yeah.
I just turned to CNN. I just turned to CNN last night briefly just to get a glimpse of what's happening here. I see what, pops up in my phone and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I'm staying away from that. I just think it's not healthy for me. I don't think it's, so that's one thing. So knowing the things that annoy you, infiltrate you, and all those kind of things, and then staying away from that. I think those are the two things that I'm really, really doing. But I'm also, one of the things that I've been thinking is, man, even when I go to church, do we have a contingency plan if something like this happened?
That's true, man.
when do I have a contingency plan? Do we have a contingency plan? Like, what can we do? That's one. And then I think ultimately there's need for higher being.
There's need for
There's
higher being.
love overcomes evil.
Yeah.
And this is just an indication of how wicked
The world has
the
become.
world has become. And the energy we have is just negative. That's my simple conclusion.
Ezra, I used to. I worked somewhere. It was in a correctional facility, and one of these classes, about safety, self-awareness. And there's something I took from that class was every time, and my family laughs at this. Every time I go into a building, I look for the exits. I have to know where they are. You laugh right now, but when really it comes down to it matters.
I laugh, first of all, because it's funny.
Yeah.
Saying that. But I also laugh because what became of the world where you didn't have to worry about that?
Exactly. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Now, it's one thing if you're looking for fire exits because there's fire.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But it's another thing because you're always on the lookout.
Right.
Anything can happen.
Yeah. At this point, with 103 victims already in 2021, I think it is a high time that now I'm already heightened that when I go to a store, I know if someone were to walk in that door, I know where to run. But it's not supposed to be that way. You're not supposed to walk into a grocery store and wonder if you're gonna come back out. So Ezra,
How do we restore humanity?
like you said, I believe in a higher being, and I pray.
I do believe in that, but is there a role for us as human beings?
Two things. Spread love. And I look at you as a brother, as a sister, not as someone a stranger to me. For me, I spread love. I'm good to you, and I kind of expect you to be good to me. So for me, it's spreading love. Love conquers all, like you just said. Love trumps evil. If I look at you and I look at you as a human being, love conquers all. That's me.
I think it takes the right mind to implement human rights. I think we're going to think about how we vote. That's practical to me.
Yeah.
You saw Florida a few years ago, the kids,
Yeah.
high school and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to get political. I don't want to take anyone's rights. I don't want to get engaged and involved in that. But it's wrong for me as a leader to be selfish.
Mm-hmm.
So as citizens, as human beings, we have a right, power, and influence given to us. We got to exercise it, not because of tribal lines, not because of skin color, not because of gender, not because of this, because I want someone, even if they don't look like me, in there who will fight for the rights of humanity fairly and equally and squarely.
Right on.
I think that's the first thing.
Yeah.
One of the practical things. The second thing is normalize getting help.
Mm-hmm.
Some of us might not have guns. But if you took a glass, you took the thing that was nearest to you and you threw it at someone because you were angry, what if what was close to you was a gun?
Yeah.
So if you don't deal with that anger issue, all you're missing is a gun.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm speaking to myself.
I see. Yeah. That's
Speaking
practical.
to myself like,
Right.
like normalize that. In this culture, in this country, in this society, send your kids, send yourself for mission trips. And I mean that. I think because of the abundance of resources in this country, there is a level of entitlement. The reason why some of these shootings happen is because they argued over something small. And I see that with the kids. I see that with myself. You walk into a house where you have options of pairs of shoes you want to wear. You walk into the fridge and you have options of, diet that you can pick from. You get into the garage, you have an option of which car you're going to use and stuff. When you get so used to this and somebody takes one thing away from you, you will fight to hold on into that. But when you go to spaces and places where people are just fighting to just have a meal for the day, they're so content. And there's just something beautiful about that. I've been to communities like Pokot and Turkana, and that's part of the reason why I like going to these mission trips. It's just, it anchors me. It reminds me humanity. I see people who have one cloth, two clothes. Now you can talk about hygiene, you can talk about all those things we can. But all these things we have, I think there's a level of entitlement that is influencing us. All that. So those are some of the things that come to mind. And of course, again, higher being, you already know, I don't need to hammer that home because it's obvious.
Yeah. Well said, Ezra. I think introspectively, we all have to look inward and see what really matters. If more lives lost matter to you, then choose the leaders that go with that. If saving lives and having sensible measures that preserve life, then go with that. But in essence, what you choose to subscribe to or ascribe to, be comfortable with it being in your own house, or being close to you, and being, or even handling the people that are close to you. So whatever it is, I think restoring humanity is a bigger job we have this year.
As we close, Kenan,
Yeah.
you talk about restoring humanity. What is that? We can go back to Columbine, the shooting.
Yeah.
Can go back to Hitler, the concentration. Was it
Concentration camps.
Camps.
Yeah. Right.
Can go back to 1994, genocide in Rwanda. Simply because of your skin color. Simply because of your ethnicity.
Yeah. The language you speak. Yeah.
Now we have simply because of your religion.
Right.
When a child is born, they know to love. Hate is taught. You put a black and white child together, they will play. They will not go with their skin color. They grow together, they will always embrace each other. They'll be family. Until somebody comes and tells them, you don't hang out with people like those. And feeds them with this. So a lot of people, a lot of issues we are facing in this era.
It's what's taught at home.
It's what's taught at home.
Yeah. Whatever home
At
looks
schools.
like to. Yep.
In churches. In our societies. I'm ashamed of my country. I'm ashamed of my tribe. There are people who believe that I cannot engage with people from Luo because they're not circumcised, or there's a and this person you're looking down upon is making more money than you, is more educated than you, has a stable home than you. You are here languishing, but because somebody told you that there is not a man enough,
Man.
you've carried that. And when you're asked to define, because somebody taught you that.
Ezra, we need to pick that up.
question that we have for you all is your values that you have. Do they build,
Yeah.
or are they ones that are meant to break people apart? Society as a whole. See all these shooters? They are once good people to some people. Find love. Remember the families of the victims. Pray for them. And check your biases. Let's make this world a better place.
Ezra, I'm going to leave us with a quote from Margaret Mead. It's about caring. This quote says, never believe that a few caring people cannot change the world. For indeed, that's all who ever have. Mm-hmm. It's a few people.
Before you finish, I want to say this. I also want to read a verse, and then I also want to read, I want to say something. Mother Teresa, she said a quote, if you want to change the world, go and change your family. I found that quote so profound.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to be a world changer. Everybody wants to go and plant trees for environment. Everybody wants to go and protest.
Do that, yeah.
Everybody, but are you protesting at home some of the habits and behaviors and things that are racially motivated, that are bigotry, that are sexist, that are religious discrimination? Are you protesting those things from your home? If you want to make a world a better place, go change your home first. Essentially, change yourself first. And then as we leave, the Bible says, keep loving one another honestly, since love covers a multitude of sin.
Amen.
When you have love, even in the midst of anger, you'll find a way to love through it all. That is our time as we've been reflecting here at Amazing Truth.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Amazing Truth Podcast. We hope you were blessed as you listened. Don't forget to share, like, and subscribe. God bless you, and see you on the next one.